All right, welcome back to Algebra. Hope you had a good weekend and good first week. I do appreciate you guys doing your work and keeping up with the class. I know with the changes and going online, it's been interesting, but hopefully things are starting to get into a little bit of a groove for you. Big announcement, I got new markers. I was able to leave self-quarantine, so that's the big news. I did also want to put up what we're going to be doing for the rest of this week, kind of give you an idea, heads up. Not really huge changes or anything, but just something that I wanted to make you aware of for the rest of this week. But basically today we'll have a video just like this video here, and I'll put some problems on the board as far as just notes, and so we're going to just kind of cover one last little bit of this unit, and so you'll take some notes, and then another part of this assignment, because where you guys are a night class, you're getting 2 days of material in one class. I'll also load a photo of your study guide. Those that have had me before know I like to do a study guide before your test, so you'll get a study guide posting of problems. What I need you to do is upload the photos of both your notes, of the video here, and the photo of your work on the study guide. Now tomorrow you're not required to watch this because it's not really your class time, but I will post a video of the answers to the study guide. That way you can go through it and see if you made any mistakes. I went ahead and decided to make a video because that way if you missed any, you'd see why. If I just posted the answers, I thought about that, but you know, if you missed one, you may want to see why that was. So there'll be a posting video of the answers. Don't have to do anything for it. Just watch it, check it, and see if you want to check your answers. That way you've got them correct studying. Thursday will be your test, and I'll be announcing how that will come about for your testing time and what you'll be turning in for your test over this first unit. Okay, and that's pre-algebra review. So we're going to be doing PIMDAS and combining like terms, and then we get into this monomial, binomial, trinomial, where we're multiplying and adding and subtracting them and putting them together. So, and with that is also distribution in those. So anyway, I want to give you a quick rundown of that before we get started on this last little bit of what we're looking at with monomials, binomials, and trinomials. Okay, first thing is I want to put up the answers of the problems that I had you do on Thursday. That way you can check those. So if you've got those with you, you can get them out and check your answers real quick. Let's see. Okay, so when we distribute that, we go 4 times y, 4 times 7. Okay, so that's where you stop. You can't combine those two. Okay, and then we had one that was a little bit longer. So it was a monomial times a trinomial. This is 3 terms. So 3 times 2x squared is 6x squared. 3 times negative 7x is negative 21x. And 3 times 4 is 12. So here's where you have to stop. You can't combine these x's because one's squared, one's not. And that's a number without a variable. Okay, then you've got this problem was where you had a trinomial that you can't combine anything, and then you had a distribution at the end of that. Let's see, minus 3. Okay, so this one here, you can't do anything with this. There's nothing to distribute. Should we just take it out of the parentheses? So I just rewrite it. Here I go 2 times 3x squared. It's positive 2 times a positive 3x, so it's plus 6x squared. Positive 2 minus negative 2 is negative 4x. And positive 2 times negative 3 is negative 6. Now I go through here and see what I combine. I can combine 7x squared plus 6x squared. So it's 13x squared. For some reason I was wanting to make it cubed. Negative 3x minus 4x is negative 7x. And 7 minus 6 is positive 1. Okay, so 13x squared minus 7x plus 1. Okay, so those were the first 3 problems there. Then we got into the 2 problems that were, one of them was plus, One of them was minus. So I'm going to do those together. Okay, so you had the number 4, which was 7y cubed minus 2y plus 3 plus 2y cubed minus 7y minus 5. Okay, and then the other problem, number 5, was, let's see, 8b to the 4th minus b plus 7, and then minus 2b to the 4th minus 5b plus 3. Okay, so the reason why I put these two together is because one of them is a plus, one of them is a minus. That's the main difference. And so the first thing with not being able to combine anything, we can just take it out of the parentheses. Same thing here. Okay, there's nothing to do inside these parentheses. You can't combine any of these. But then when you get to this one, you're distributing the positive 1. Or you're just keeping the signs the same. So it stays a positive 2y cubed, it stays a negative 7y, and it stays a negative 5. This one, you're depositing distributing a negative 1, and so everything changes. So the signs change to a negative 2b fourth, positive 5b, and negative 3. So that's the main difference between a plus and minus of polynomials there. Now you just need to combine your like terms. So 7y cubed and 2y cubed is 9y cubed. And because I have more markers and I've gotten really close to each other, I didn't plan that out too well. As far as leave a space there, I know that happens sometimes, so let's try to squeeze this in. 9y cubed. Oh, that's not going to be good. I'll have my special effects team edit all this out. Let's see. Let's use this one. 9y cubed. There we go. Negative 2y minus 7y is negative 9y. And 3 minus 5 is negative 2. So 9y cubed minus 9y minus 2. Down here, okay, 8b fourth minus 2b to the 4th is 6b to the 4th. Negative b plus 5b is positive 4b. Because you had a negative 1 plus 5 becomes positive 4. And 7 minus 3 is positive 4 as well. Okay, so there's the answer to 4 and 5 on those. I did those together so that you could see the difference between the plus and the minus. Then you get into multiplying. Okay, so number 6 is y to the 5th times y to the 3rd equals y to the 8th. You just add the exponents. 3x squared times 4x to the 5th. So you get 12x to the 7th. So I multiplied the 3 times the 4. X squared times x 5th adds up to x to the 7th. Okay. Number 8 is 2d to the 5th times 2d to the 3rd. So 2 times 2 is 4. D to the 8th. Okay. 9 is, let's just do this. Even the shorter boards, my arm doesn't reach all the way across, so we'll just start here. I have to say, when I sit down like this and work, I feel like a painter. But those that have had my geometry class know that that would never happen in real life, where I would be a painter. But this one is still distribution. Now we're having to distribute this with a variable through this. So 5a times 3a is going to be 15a cubed. The reason why it's cubed is this to the first power. So 1 plus 2 is cubed. Can't forget about that a. So there's a times a squared, which is a times a times a, which is a cubed. Okay, there's 3 a's there. Same thing with this. You're going to get negative 10. 5 times negative 2 is negative 10. A to the 5th. Make sure you add that 1 to the 4th. You can't combine those, so that's where that one ends. Okay. So this is a 1x to the first. So 1 times 7 is 7. X 1 plus 3 is 4. And then same thing with this, 2x squared, because you're going x times x, okay? And the last one, okay, was 3 times 5 is 15, y squared, because it's y to the first plus y to the first. And then 3 times negative 1 is negative 3, y to the third. You're going to add 1 plus 2. And then 3 times negative 3 is negative 9. And you got to keep that y there. You can't just lose that y. So once again, this is 3 times 5, y times y, which is y squared. Then 3 times, there's a negative 1 here. Okay, if there's no 1 written, that means it's negative 1. So 3 times negative 1 is negative 3. Y times y squared is y cubed. And then 3 times negative 3 is negative 9. And then y, you can't lose that y, so it's there with it. Can't combine any of these, so you can leave it there. Okay, so that's the problems from Thursday. Check your work. See which ones you missed. If you have a question still, make sure to email me. Kind of clear that up, or make a comment on your assignment that you turn in. You can make a private comment if you just don't want anybody else to see it. You can click on your assignment and you could write a private comment. So that's ways that you can check on that. The last thing I want to show you in this unit is, so far what I'm having you distribute is a single term times maybe even several terms. But what happens when we have a binomial times a binomial? Okay, I'm going to use that word binomial times another binomial. Okay, so that's going to look something like this. 3x plus 2, and I wrote down 4x squared minus 3. Okay, so here's an example. Now, the reason why it's a binomial is instead of just having like a 2 out here and distributing like we just did on that last assignment, we have 2 terms. We have this plus this. When there's a plus sign or a minus, remember, that separates the terms. So you have a term and a term. So you have 2 terms, which makes it a binomial. Same thing with this one. You have a term, this separates it, and you've got another term. Okay, so when that happens, now we can't just distribute one term throughout the other ones, okay? So our method changes. Now, I used to teach this a method, and it's still taught, and it's still a good method if you've ever seen it before. The only problem is with our time crunch where we're condensing everything and teaching everything kind of quickly, it's really not as useful. Part of that is because we could spend a lot of time going through and learning the letter of the method, figuring out why to do it, and it really only applies to binomial times binomial. Here in a second, we're going to be doing, well, more than a second. It'll probably be about 5 minutes the way I, just kind of keep talking and making jokes and stopping and making explanations like this. But here in 4 minutes and 25 seconds, when we do a binomial times a trinomial, this method that they teach is no longer useful. That method is called FOIL, and if you've ever heard that before, that's a method taught to do a binomial times a binomial. We're not going to be doing that just because, like I said, it doesn't apply once you get past binomial times binomial. So we're actually just going to do it like we would do all the other ones, okay? And all you have to do, though, is do this method now the rest of the way out. And what that is treat this like this is not here right now, okay? You're just dealing with 3x times these terms. So let's do that. Let's pretend that 2 is not there and just do 3x times this and this. You still have to distribute it to both of these terms, though. So 3x times 4x squared is 12x cubed. Okay, 3 times 4, x times x squared is x cubed. And then 3x times negative 3 is negative 9x. 3 times negative 3 is negative 9. X is still there. So we distributed that term to both of these. Okay. Now we're going to treat like the 3. We're done with 3x. We did both of those. And now we're going to take this positive 2 and distribute it to both terms. Okay. So now you get 2 times 4x, which is 8x squared. Okay, 2 times 4x squared. And then 2 times negative 3 is negative 6. Now I looked through here and still check. Usually on these you could probably have some that could combine. In this case we don't, but always don't forget to check. Okay, so we look through here. There's none of these would combine, so that's where we stop with that. Okay, let's do another one of those. X minus 2. This one will be a little bit smaller, and we'll actually probably have some that need to combine afterwards. So here's x minus 2, x plus 4. So once again, let's take x and distribute it to both of these. So x times x is x squared. X times 4 is 4x. So we distributed that term to both of these. Now we're going to take the negative 2 and distribute it to both of these. So negative 2 times x is negative 2x. And negative 2 times 4 is negative 8. Remember, a negative times a positive is negative. Okay, so here's my answer here, but I noticed that there's 2 that I can combine. So you have to do that. You have to keep simplifying it as much as you can. So x squared, this becomes 4x minus 2x just becomes 2x, because 4 minus 2 is 2, and then minus 8. And now we're done because we can't combine any of those. Okay? Let's do one more of those so that you can see, get a little practice with that. And this one I'm going to use a different letter. So let's do 5y plus 1 and multiply it times negative 2y squared plus 4. Okay, so take this, distribute it to both. 5y times negative 2y squared is negative 10y cubed. 5y plus times 4 is plus 20y. 1 times negative 2y squared is negative 2y squared. And 1 times 4 is 4. None of these combine, so this is where we stop with that. Okay, so hopefully that gives you enough kind of examples there as you go on to just know you distribute this to both, and then you distribute this to both, and then you check and see if any combine. One little wrinkle with that is this right here. Okay, now this is x minus 3, and then you square the whole thing. Now when I talked about squares and I said you could, I think it was this class I was talking about, you could square a potato, you could square anything and multiply it times itself. Well, what that means is I'm squaring this whole thing as a whole. So I'm not just squaring the x, I'm not just squaring the negative 3, I'm squaring the whole x minus 3. So what that looks like, so if you see a problem like that, the first thing you need to do is change it to this. I just took this and multiplied it times itself. Okay, so that's all you do. If I took 7 squared, I would just take it and multiply it times itself. Well, that's what I'm doing when this was squared. I took this and I multiplied it times itself. Now we know how to do that though. That means we take x times x times negative 3, then we take negative 3 times x, and we take negative 3 times negative 3, which becomes positive 9. We can combine these two. Negative 3x minus another 3x is negative 6x, and we still have plus 9. Okay? So that's the little wrinkles if they put a binomial and square it. I'll put one more up of that. And it's not any different than all of these problems that we're doing. It's just it looks different at the beginning. So y plus 4 squared. And if you want to pause it and try this one first, you can do that and then check and see if you got it right. The first thing I'm going to do is square it. Okay, now I'm going to distribute the y. So y times y times 4, then 4 times y, then 4 times 4. Okay, then I can combine these two middle y's to 8y, and that's where I'm done. Okay. Now, you could use FOIL on this if you've learned how to do that and you feel comfortable with that. It's just the reason why I don't is because now this probably is exactly 4 minutes and 25 seconds later. I'm going to look at what happens when you have a binomial times a trinomial. Trinomial meaning 3 terms. Okay. Okay, so let's look at what that looks like. So I'm going to do 2x minus 5. And I wrote out x squared plus 3x plus 4. Okay, so now you've got the binomial still, 2x minus 5, 2 terms. But now you've got 3 terms. And FOIL no longer would work. Okay, so that's why I just learn it all the same, because we're going to do this the same way as the others, just now there's one more term. So I'm going to take 2x and multiply it times everything in there, and instead of just multiplying it by 2 things, I've got to multiply it by 3 things. So that looks like this. 2x times x squared is 2x to the cubed. x1 plus 2 is cubed. 2x times 3x is 6x squared. And the key to these is just making sure you're doing your exponents right. Don't leave one off, or, you know, and two, your signs matter too, plus or minus. 2x times 4 is 8x. Okay, so I took this and I multiplied it times each term to get this. Now I'm going to take negative 5 and do the same thing. Negative 5 times x squared is negative 5x squared. Negative 5 times 3x is negative 15x. And negative 5 times 4 is negative 20. Now I look through and say, can I combine any of these? I can. I can combine these 6x squared minus 5x squared and get just a single x squared. Okay, that was, I've already used this one. But that's 6 minus 5, so it's 1x squared. And so I don't write the 1, it's just a single x squared. And then 8x minus 15x is negative 7x. And then you just have negative 20 left. So really, the way we do binomial times trinomial is the same way as binomial times binomial. It's just one longer term, okay? And you could keep going. You could do, once you get past trinomial, the name always then just becomes polynomial. But you could keep adding terms and keep doing this, okay? But this is where we'll stop. I'm going to do one more binomial times trinomial, though, and you can try it, see if it comes out right. Once you, if you want to pause it and try it. So 3y minus 2 times 2y squared minus 4y plus 7. Okay? So I'm going to take this and multiply it times everything over there. So 3y times 2y squared, 3y times negative 4y, 3y times 7. Okay, so that's that times these 3 terms. Then I'm going to take negative 2 and do the same thing. So negative 4y squared, that's negative 2 times 2y squared. Negative 2 times positive 4y is plus 8y. And negative 2 times 7 is negative 14. Now I go through and see what I can combine. This is the only cube term. Negative 12y squared minus another 4y squared is negative 16y squared. And 21y plus 8y is 29y. And then minus 14. Okay, so check your answers, see maybe where you missed one. Or if you missed any at all, if you got it, great. You know, that's going through, you're putting it all into practice now. Distribution, combining like terms, simplifying, you know, going through, you're putting it all into practice now, okay? Just take a photo of these notes, upload it. That'll be for the first part of the assignment. The second part, like I said, there'll be a photo of your study guide, and you'll do that as well and take a photo and upload that. Tomorrow, I'll post a video that you just, if you want to watch it and check your answers on the study guide, that'll post tomorrow that give you an opportunity to see those worked out and you get the correct answers to study. Okay? Thanks, guys.